What we can look forward to with silver might look like a bad thing, but it will actually open the door to a great chance. I'll explain as we look around. What will happen next with silver? It depends on how much time you have. I think that the price of silver will return to normal in the next few weeks. Why is that the case? Since the silver prices are getting back to normal. That's right. But it will give us a chance to use these to buy a little more silver during this time. Now, my friends at Summit Metals sell silver. They also buy it from you. They have one of the fastest growth rates of any company I've seen. And I would tell you to do your own study before buying any silver from anywhere, because it can be hard to time the markets correct. In fact, it's really hard to do. I believe in dollar cost averaging, not buying out of fear or because of what someone on the internet says. Even this station, which is paid for by a bullion dealer. You need to choose those things on your own. Before you buy or sell, I think you should get and think about all the information you can find anywhere. Also, I made a movie about how to sell silver. When is the best time to sell silver? At the end of this movie, I'll put a link to that there. We just finished another day of terrible news for silver prices though, when this movie was made. I'm writing this down in the overnight markets right now, and things look like they're getting a little more stable, but not by much. For whatever reason though, things are now set up so that prices will start to stay the same. That's for a good reason. The silver market is returning to normal. After a record amount of free-floating silver entered London vaults, prices are likely to fall due to speculation and lessening demand in India. This will likely push silver back to, wait for it, $40 an ounce. You already know that I talked about $40 silver if you watched my video or read my market report from yesterday or the day before I made this video. This is a new study I just found. It was reported by FX Street and comes from Daniel Gawley, a senior commodity analyst at TD Securities. We seem to agree on this, which is interesting. I came up with my number before reading this story. After a big wave of free-floating metal hitting London vaults, the silver markets are now back to normal. This is the first time that data has been kept on this.
There is no longer a crisis, but it will be interesting to see what the official numbers are when they are released. Metal is starting to come back into the London markets, but there have been long stretches when it was dangerously low, though not as low as it was after the tariff threats that many people thought would hurt valuable metals. Anything you say about taxes that affect precious metals right now is just crazy.
Still, I think it might happen again, which would be crazy since Trump has said he won't put tariffs on gold or silver. Prices for silver don't have to keep going up in order to encourage people to bring metal into London vaults from outside sources. Still, Indian demand is also going down after the Reserve Bank of India stepped in.
In the end, spot price will have a hard time getting back to the important $50 an ounce level. I agree with that view because it was already a lot of work to get to $50 an ounce. But as soon as it hit $49 an ounce, it went through the roof and is now almost $55 an ounce. Well, the real high for silver was $54.50, not the high.
And yes, I think we will get there again, but it probably won't happen until next year, especially after what we're seeing now and the fact that Indian demand has dropped since the Diwali festival is over. So until the next season, there won't be as much desire. For those who remember, India's desire for silver changes with the seasons and for cultural reasons. However, India is a very important country in the silver market. I think it's the best in terms of income per person. There are a lot of people living in this country. A lot of people live in this country. So it doesn't surprise me that there would be a lot of demand for silver, which would put stress on the markets, especially since they are already under a lot of stress. In any case, $40 silver is not a bad deal. I think that's pretty good, especially if they think that the failed breakout will now cause a lot of traders to leave the market. The world is still the same, so we think silver can now trade back to $40 an ounce. In the same exact state of the world, silver will stay above $40 an ounce for a while longer because of a number of different reasons. That's pretty much the bottom line is what they say. That's the amount of help. Once you think about it, that's really good news, even though it looks bad for the short term. Still, they don't say what it will do next year. They're just saying that the market is beginning to return to normal. Also, That stabilization is happening in two of the three most important silver markets. The third has not been talked about yet, because this third market is more of a long-term game, which I'll probably talk about in a different video. I won't say it's not important, but it is, so keep an eye out for that. In my last video, I hinted at that, but I'm still waiting for more data to come in to see if there's a trend, but there's no doubt that we should pay attention to it. With the way things are going now, they think that silver can trade back to $40 an ounce. What is that? Before the fear of tariffs, before the silver started coming into New York? Oh, it's politics in the world. They are still at war with Ukraine. There is still some instability in Gaza, the Gaza Strip, Hezbollah, and the West Bank, as well as with Islamic Jihad.
In the Middle East, there are still some trouble spots. And then there's Iran. They aren't as much of a threat as they used to be, but they are still a worry. What about China and Taiwan, and the political forces that are building up there? South China Sea, there are other places. So, the world is still very busy, and the dollar is still being used less and less. There are still state banks that are buying gold. And yes, the fact that they are buying more gold will help silver in some ways. The amount of gold to silver is high, but it could be a lot higher. That's a given. The price is 85 or 85.1 right now. But there it is. It's very possible that silver will trade in this range for a while, and something like this will happen. After that, I think it will go up again. It might be wrong now. That could make things even better. A lot of different things are happening. I believe that the two interest rate cuts that are almost certain to happen will not have as much of an effect on the prices of valuable metals as they did before. That being said, it doesn't mean they'll fall much either. If anything, I think it will make that support for silver stronger. I believe that is a strong thing. In all honesty, I believe that is one of the best things we can hope for. Also, silver prices will slowly move back up in a northerly direction when they reach 41, 42, and 45 again. If we do reach a bottom at 40, hopefully it will be a stronger move to the upside and not as dramatic as the last one, solidifying new support. That's right. Well, that's what I think will happen with silver, and it does. But I'd really like to know what you think about that.
At the moment, I believe that does present some chances to buy on the way down if we are still to see stabilization down to that $40 level. It might drop below $40 an ounce, but I don't think it will go below that. It might go down to $39 or $38. I don't think it will go much lower than that though.